Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mr. Ferdinand Chidozie. Welcome you to today's first edition podcast for the MFC Property Global. And with me, I have some guests here, and which I'll be introducing to you briefly. So first, Uko Akalo. He happens to be a dear friend of mine, and though we've worked together in this business, so I don't know if there's anything you want to say briefly to our fans.
Hello, great investors. We are here for you. Thank you.
This is Mr. Kenneth Michael.
Thank you for
Welcome,
having me
Mr.
on this
Kenneth
beautiful broadcast today. Watch out to see more.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, we have Miss Cynthia Chidema Obaji.
Hi everyone, I'm extremely excited to be here. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for coming. So, briefly on what we have today on our list, we are going to be discussing about the fear of Nigerians investing in real estate in Abuja. So, I believe this section, it is going to be exciting, it is going to be empowering, and it's going to be enlightening. So, just stick with us just for a few minutes, and you will listen to things that will wow your mind in this short time. Okay, so practically, not to waste much of our time, we'll be running through few questions that maybe one way or the other in our real estate sector as being a talk of town, and with the brilliant minds I have here, we'll be having our answers dished out and believing that we'll have full idea about the entire concept. So the first question that I have on my list, all right, Mr. Michael, I really want to direct this question to you. So my first question pertaining the fear of Nigeria investing in the real estate sectors in Abuja. So I have on my list here, say what do clients tend to show, why do clients tend to show interest in properties and eventually don't buy?
Okay,
Yes.
there's a beautiful one there. So what I believe about when you see, notice a client giving you some attitude after they want to buy a property and they tend to fall back is, there's something about individual differences. There's a client who normally has the mind of buying a property before getting to meet you, and there's some clients that you are the one that the ball is in your court to convince them to buy that particular property. So when you get to see a client coming to you and after a long while, a long run and believing in your faith, and you think the person didn't get to buy, then there's a problem somewhere, and the problem is either that client is not monetized, one, or the client just show a visible interest that is not from the mind, or two, you didn't convince him enough to buy that particular property. So what I believe is, before going further with your client, you get to know what that person actually wants, what that person wants to get, and why is the person buying the property. That way you get to know if this client is literally interested in what he's buying, or is just, okay, let me just follow him and see what they're selling.
I have seen clients who even then come, then when we take them to sites and then they view the inspections. In fact, they will tell you we are interested, fix an appointment with you, and then they'll tell you, okay, so time we'll be coming to get this property or secure it. In fact, they end up like every interest is there, and just all of a sudden you call this client and there is no longer picking your calls and all of that. It's quite a kind of
Yeah. Okay. In some scenarios, you get to see that client. If there's a particular plan or a budget of that particular client, now maybe this person actually want to get something, and the property you are offering to this particular person is beyond the budget the person actually planned for.
Okay.
So there's going to be a step back, or
sometimes. So that
sometimes.
means you are saying maybe those babies go papa first.
No, it depends. But the care, but that's cool. But at the same time, the care, the love, they feel more comfortable in the arms of their mom.
Yeah, true.
You understand? So that's the management. That's the management aspect
Okay.
of that particular stuff.
All right. Okay.
Yes.
Not properly managed.
Thank you very
Okay.
much. So you get to see sometimes your management, that's what they say, pursuing, the management is actually the key factor of if this person is going to buy. That's why sometimes I believe there's always two types of clients: the one who has the money and want to buy, and the one who is left for you to convince for them to buy.
Okay.
You understand? The one who has the money to buy now is just waiting for the right person to just give him a direction of where to throw in this particular money. Then the other one is those who have the money, they don't have the plans. But your convincing and management of that particular client gets to give the person the interest to buy that particular property from you. And mind you, you are not the only person managing that client. So everything you're doing towards that client, now you have to be on the fast track. You have to be ahead of what you're thinking, ahead of what he's thinking. Yes, because now you want the ball in your court now. So now you're after the goalpost. So what you're supposed to do now is supposed to be faster than what he's thinking, faster about what the people around him or the people pushing him to buy or to get a property from them are thinking. So I believe that when you get a client, you secure that particular client like a baby who has just been given birth to. So a baby who has been given birth to needs total attention.
100%.
Wow.
You understand? Total attention, just for them to feel that care and that love. So that's why you see a baby always call the mama's name first, because this is the first person the person is familiar with.
I think I've seen babies.
Okay,
I think I really learned a lot from what you just said now. Share the scenario of them being more like a newborn baby.
Yeah.
I really that's a great. I think I'm more enlightened on that. Well, but then speaking of which, I would just want to maybe ask Mr. Okalakalo, and maybe there are certain current situations you must have undergone before now, particularly clients who went through hardship, I mean, didn't buy, and then how did you feel? What was your greatest disappointment pertaining that?
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. It's a nice time with you all here. It was actually a big blow. A big blow in the sense that you had to borrow money, book for inspection, and then you went for inspection and he told you, no problem, I'll be coming on Tuesday. And you asked, when I had to ask him, sir or ma, what time are you coming on Tuesday? And he said, by my lunchtime. By 11:32, I already told my GM, I'm expecting a client to come who is a prospect, ready to buy. And I was already ready with my phone. This client came, met the GM, collected my phone, and said she would pay. And I was like, oh my God, thank God.
And this will be out of debt.
But believe me, do you know 2 weeks went down, 3 weeks went down, a whole month went down. In fact, the whole of that quarter went. She didn't pick my call. She only viewed my status, viewed everything, but no response. Down the line, that's why I want to encourage other young realtors. I kept sending message. I kept on with my broadcast list. And then, after like 6-7 months, she just called me and said she was actually expecting money. And then she was also down. But she didn't want to communicate family problem with me. But all they said that she still wants to go ahead with the business. But for now, the money she's expecting, since she's a contractor, have not come in. But she has some people who want to invest. Guess what? She sent me 3 clients. 3 clients, 2 paid outright, 1 on payment plan. And as we discussed, she has also subscribed. So I want to encourage young investors and young realtors that it's not good to give up. But rather you keep praying and then keep hoping and keep updating them with the latest about the investments and the sites you have. You never can tell when they will call you up. As long as you're still active on the social media page and in the good things you do, being intentional, you just get it done.
Wow.
Thank
So
you.
that means consistency is the key.
Very key, sir.
Wow.
Very key.
Very true. I think this also connects with what you said about clients who are monetary wise. That those who have the money, they want to buy and they will buy.
And so I need you to convince them.
That's very true. Well, with what you say, is this that you have much experience about this thing. So I just want to put this question to you too, as to what are the fears you think clients have? Now, I know this woman has her own peculiar fear to have. But there may be also other clients you must have encountered and maybe stories you must have heard, being that I know you're one of the oldest in this business. And that's why really I was so happy having you here. So what do you think are the fears that some of these clients face or see why they don't invest?
Well, you know, the popular stories about real estate agents and real estate companies in Nigeria long before now, especially from the last dispensation during the Buhari time, and then how FCDA talks about the revocation of lands that are being abused, in the sense that is supposed to be for residential, is converted to commercial without normal application. And then those diaspora clients that I have during that time, like 3 years ago, were telling me that they don't want to invest in their money in Nigeria because the land belongs to the government. And once the proper thing is not done, development control and FCDA will hijack it or revoke it. So most of them is because they don't have that time to go for due diligence. Because most of these legal practitioners will want to collect 10-15% of the total sum value of the plot from them. Meanwhile, they've not even gone to see the place. They only do, some do window search. Some don't even really know. They just act on hearsay, but they collect that huge money. And so for you to part with such money without really, that's why I like the company I work with. They are always intentional about infrastructure, about government, how do I even put it now? Government intentions, areas that are strategic.
True.
So some people will invest, and after 2-3 years, you don't see anything happening. But we are strategic about infrastructure, about places you get return on investment. So most clients, their fear is, like I just mentioned, these two, and the fact that some of them just want to get ready the place. While the money comes, they invest. Thank you very much.
I think I can attest to that pertaining the company, and it's being a developer, you must know how to use or how to be timely pertaining acquiring, getting lands, and then preparing it and developing it. You can be a land seller but not a developer. Exactly. You can just sell lands and you can't develop, and you see people's money just die down in some areas. So I really would think I can relate to that pertaining the reputation of the company. Well, we'll just move on with our next question, and Miss Cynthia Opachi. Yeah, so I know you very well pertaining your business. We've heard a lot of stories about you, and it's more like you're the favored type rater. But yes,
Very, very.
like
You're not missing words.
exactly, like the favor in this business is just running around you. So, and I really know that you will do justice to me personally. I've been thinking about it, and I really want to get clarity on that part. And I'll begin by asking, what's your greatest, yes, more like your greatest experience with your, across the time you do this business, people you have met, and the clients who have bought from you, your greatest experience in the business?
I would say there are a couple of experiences that you have, and it just makes you excited. One of the greatest things I'm grateful to God for after joining this business is the fact that I joined at a very young age.
Wow.
And I got to get experience of older people. And most of the time, young people might not want to venture into this, but having to get experience of older people who are very vast. People who started buying land from 1990s, 2002, like years and years ago, who know the value of what they are going into. And that's like one of the most things that I'm grateful about. And where does that leave me? I once had a client an old woman by the way, who knows what she's doing. I've like heard the depth in her speech, and she went to the location immediately she saw the particular location I had taken her to. She was like, oh, this is like a world of her own. She picked up her phone from there and she started making calls because she knows the value of what she's buying. She said, don't worry, I'm doing it for myself, I'm not doing it for you. I know that you're in this for whatever it is that attached to it, but for me, I'm doing this for myself and for my future generation, because I know what it really entails already. So those who are conversant with buying properties over with them, and you get to see their experience. And the second part of it, I would say, is watching people who had bought property from you when it was at a very young, like a very very minimal amount, and then you watch them get excited to resell those properties for a very ridiculous and like large amount of money, and it just feels as if they just broke a cost. Do you get? And it's for something that they bought for a minimal amount, and all of a sudden, just because of that move, that 1 second risk that they took, they just slashed it. I think that's like one of the best experiences so far.
Wow. I really want to start from that grace. So, it's quite exciting when you hear news. I can remember when just in our cycle, then we had the news, and like I think you were the best marketer of the year then.
At the time.
Yes. And we heard the news. It was like, wow, it's Chidinma. Wow, is this a Chidinma, And it was quite exciting, and we're very happy.
Yeah.
These are stories we will always want to tell in this business. Like, it's a major mark. It's a major mark. So, looking forward, Mr. Kenneth, I really, though I have known you to be someone who is vast in this business, right? And in fact, at this point, you're already coming to the level of a developer already. Yes. Yeah, so I want to really know, what do you think that developers should do, or facilitators, in this case I mean agents, that's those who sell land, market land. What do you think we should do to manage these fears that clients will have before they invest?
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to give a funny quote, and that quote sounds very, very funny actually, because how will I put it now? Let me say, everything that has original actually has a fake. So, a country like Nigeria now, a lot of record of scammers in landed properties has already gone down. And using Abuja as a case study, you notice some clients, it's not like, let me say prospect, it's not like they don't want to buy, you understand? But the fear of how they've been scammed, and like my colleague here also said about the revocation of land and the rest of them, makes some prospects feel less interested in pursuing their dreams, like their goals. Like they know this thing is going to appreciate, they're looking at it, but they don't want to put because of forgetting the aspect of the developers and the rest of them and all those kind of stuff like that. But at the long run, as a developer, it's best for you to have this confidence and this, how will I put it, like this one-stop shop in what you're doing, because that's the best way to market. Like when people believe in what you're doing, when people believe that yes, there's a dream. Using Double King as a case study now, if you notice, Double King Estate Limited is not all about just selling property. It's genuinity.
Very true.
You understand? The legal documents. These are things that prospect wants to hear. I want to know, okay, I bought this land. It's not about giving me paper or written note. How genuine are these papers? Am I going to have issues after you give me these papers, or I should just go and sit and wait for my properties to appreciate or for my property to be developed? You understand? And some persons actually, some developers will just tell you that we are developing soon, and that soon might be 30 years, because it's not all landowners are developers.
That is the integrity.
Yes. You understand? But some people just for marketing sake and just to get your money, they'll just tell you that we're developing soon. And you get to find out that this land, they don't even have development permit, they don't have the prototype approval, and the rest of them. It's just a land. That's why you see when you pour your money in that kind of place, you see after 3 years, Your 3 million is still 3 million. Your 4 million is still 4 million. It's not moving. So what I'm expecting from every prospect and every ideal mindset person to do is that before rushing or buying a property, no matter what they say, government presence, the rest and all of that, take your time. Go for research. Make some confirmation. Relate with people. You understand? Get to know what you're buying. It's best. It's best. This is not, sometimes you see, like you said, the window shopping and the rest of them. It's risky. It's a 50-50 case. Because you see, sometimes you do and it works well for you. And some persons doesn't work well for them. So we won't say 30% of that, we won't call it a pass. You understand? It's not a pass, it's actually a fail. So confirmation is good in everything. Even in, you see Christianity as a case study, sometimes you see people, if it's not because of the confirmation, the miracles and the stuff people are saying now, yes, it's going to be hard for you to make someone fall for that. You understand? So that's just how the goal is now. So when you're buying a property, when you want to believe in your developers, now you get to know what is this person actually selling for. How true? What is the integrity behind this company? Behind the name? Behind the land? Behind that location? The government approval, the government decision. Is it a commercial? Is it an industrial? And the rest of them, you understand? Because some person will just give you land for industrial, then later on the government will come around and say, okay, sorry, this place is not for building, it's for industrial purpose. So you see now, there's a problem with your money in that place. You understand? So being careful in landed property is a major factor that every prospect needs to consider. Not just I have money I want to pour, no. Or they have wind you, no, confirm. Take your time. Take your time and relax and work with the client. So to me, it's the best way for you to abstain from some kind of unnecessary risks or losing your money to some kind of real estate firm, because there are a lot of real estate firms in Abuja. So how can you know that this one is real? The only way you know now is through confirmation, due diligence, the integrity behind that company. You understand? How legal are things or are around their places, and what are they even portraying? Are they just portraying land, development, or infrastructure? You understand?
You know, I'm telling, as you say, about track record and you know, one of the things I always will tell my client then is it's not really just about having lands.
Yeah.
It's about the brand.
Yes.
Now, the brand gives you
personal
money,
branding.
right?
Yes, that's
so.
100%.
And you look at it. Brand is when you want to really know what you are really going into when you are buying land. I will also even talk about them having checking their track records. You understand? The truth is, though I know of certain cases that must have come up where people pay for land and eventually they don't see the land they bought. Now these things, I realize that it happens with most of these developers that are not well known. Like I can see, I met a client who told me of how a developer partnership with NLC, and eventually NLC got people who buy property from him. It's like a partnership. So eventually the slot was supposed to be 1,000 space. But the developer went on selling above 1,000. So anyone from 1,001
It's gone.
is gone. So you see, most of the times, and you realize that the reason why they rushed this property because it was cheap. I was speaking to one of my prospects. Our client now is even a politician per se, and he was telling me, Ferdinand, why should I buy a property in the same area where it is seeing a land? I mean, why should you buy from me in the same area where it's seeing a land less cheaper than that? I told him, sir, well, you can go for that if you feel comfortable with it. But I'll tell you to do your due diligence well. And secondly, most importantly, is the brand, the development that will come. So it's not about, I even told him that if I see a land that is 10 million and see a land of 7 million in the same area, I'll go for the one of 10 million. And he was laughing. And in fact, he didn't believe me. But I had to just, he will not understand what I'm saying. But if you see anyone who will sell lands more costlier than the other in the same location, what that means is that he has a track record already. That if you are not ready to flow with him, you are not the client he's looking for. You understand that kind of thing. So most of the times when you go into the market, it's not even the money that should be the problem.
Yes.
What should be the problem is, okay, what I'm looking out for, will I get it in return? You understand? I was telling one of my clients that, okay, if you buy this property, the truth is, okay, you buy it at, for instance, 11.5 now, you'll be selling it for 50 million naira. Identify with another brand that amount of money, you won't get that same amount of money.
That's very sense.
Because the development rate differs and the name, so that's the weightiness of the name, the brand. But I think this is part of the things that prospects and investors out there really need to know. So investors should have.
Well, that's
Yes.
well, that's an amazing question.
Yes.
That's a very beautiful question. And the first thing I would say is it's funny how bad news spreads more than good news. It's a very, very corny thing that happens in real life circumstances. Children die, pregnant women die every day, yet people still get pregnant and give birth every day. You don't decide that because a person had an experience 2,000 years ago and then you decide that you wouldn't invest anymore, but just because you were hot ones. So the mindset that I would say anybody should have is to keep an open mind.
Wow. Yeah.
Just because it went badly for another person doesn't mean that you should close yourself up and not want to try anymore. Keep an open mind. Do your investigations, just like he said. Do your due diligence. Be sure that this is what I'm going for. This is what I'm looking at the long run, and I'm not expecting that I should fail because I invested in a particular thing. So I think that is the mindset every young person, in fact anybody who is alive should have. Not even just the properties, but for everything in life in general. Because for everything in life in general, there are fails and there are wins. There are parts where you win, there are parts where you lose. But if you decide because I had lost today, many of us wouldn't even be here if we had decided that because I had failed one text in class, there's no point ever going to school anymore because you had failed a test. So because one person had, if you check on the people who their properties were demolished here in Abuja, it's not up to 500, but millions of people had been successful in their properties everywhere in Abuja, but because of 10 or 50 pieces that are being demolished, now somebody is carrying a lifeline trauma and you don't want to let go of it. So let go of the fear, open up yourself, and just believe that things are going to turn up.
Thank you everyone out there who is watching us to this end right now, and I promise you that more of this will be coming. Just stay tuned to us, follow the page, like, and also share so that others will also be learning from us, and you will also watch out that you are also on the right pace attaining this business. Thank you very much, and we hope to see you in our second edition. Do have a nice day and God bless.
Thank you.